Welcome to the Loud Librarian's first chapter reading of The Burning by Laura Bates, written in 2020. When I was 11, my English teacher told me that fire is like a tiger. He was teaching us about similes, I suppose. He said a tiger is orange and fierce and leaps forward, and it can be beautiful, but also deadly. Mr. Watson was wrong. Fire is 1,000 times more deadly than a tiger. It can't be stopped with a bullet or a fence. It destroys everything in its path. A single tiny spark gobbles up oxygen and burns hotter and hotter, growing bigger and bigger. Everything it feeds on becomes part of it, like a monster that bloats and swells as it devours its prey. But fire isn't evil. It isn't good. It just is. I'm not saying I know better than Mr. Watson or anything, but in my opinion, it would have made a lot more sense if he'd have said that fire was like a rumor. Because fire is sneaky. You might think you've extinguished it, but one creeping red tendril, one single wisp of smoke is enough to let it leap back to life again, especially if someone is watching, waiting to fan the flames. Hairbrush, tampons, toothbrush, toothpaste. The front door opens with a shudder and an ominous creak. Dark blue paint cracks and peels above a tarnished brass knocker. Deodorant, watch, shoes. Come on! Mom pants, heaving two bulging suitcases over the threshold and into the dark hallway. I'm a list maker. Lists give me a grip. You can hold on to a list. Doesn't matter what's on it. Today, it's everything I had to remember to pack at the last minute. Things I couldn't put in the car last night because I'd need them in the morning. The list has been helping me to breathe, like a spell to ward off evil. I've been chanting it under my breath since I woke up, and I haven't been able to stop. Because as long as I keep repeating the things I need to remember, somehow I can distract myself. Pretend I'm not really walking out of my bedroom for the very last time. Not really stepping into a car loaded with everything we own. Not really driving past the park where I fell off my bike for the first time. Not watching the swimming pool where I train 3 nights a week disappear in the rearview mirror. Hairbrush, passing the fish and chip shop. Tampons, the library, toothbrush. The pet shop where I bought my ill-fated iguana, rest in peace Iggy Poppet. Toothpaste. But now we're here, and even the list isn't powerful enough to blot out the new house in front of me. I hesitate. Somehow stepping through the door will make it real. Make the move from Birmingham, England to Scotland real. I look back to the car, parked a little ways down the street, its door standing open, more luggage and overstuffed bags threatening to spill out. Through the back window, I can see a tattered box labeled Anna's room, diaries, photographs, Dad's books. Nothing left to go back to anyway. I take a deep breath, adjust the bulky cat carrier under my arm, and step inside. The hallway has a musty smell, its whitewashed walls and wooden ceiling beams lit by one naked bulb. The moving van, which whisked away most of our earthly belongings the night before we left, has arrived before us, and piles of labeled boxes teeter precariously on all sides. Mum's already bustling into the big, airy kitchen, which also serves as the living room. There's one of those big cast-iron stoves radiating warmth, and our new brick red sofa still covered with the protective plastic. A massive old fireplace dominates the room, empty but framed by a handsome wooden mantelpiece. I empty my pockets, shoving my car trip trash on top of it. Old styrofoam cup, crumpled snack bag, half a candy bar. It looks a bit less imposing now. Gently, I set down the cat carrier, and one very grumpy black cat unfurls out of it like a puff of smoke, letting out an indignant yowl to tell me exactly what he thinks about being cooped up in the car for this long. Sorry, Cosmo, I whisper. I bend down to ruffle his soft fur with my fingertips, craving the comfort of his familiar warmth. But he turns tail with an angry hiss and disappears through the kitchen window into the back garden. I sort of wish I could follow him. I shrug off my jacket and half slump into the crackling plastic-covered sofa. Don't even think about it, Mom warns. We've got hours of unpacking ahead of us, and the car's not even empty yet. Suddenly, the trees outside shake with a gust of wind, causing an eerie, shrieking moan that sounds like it came from the bones of the house itself. I try to sound sarcastic instead of freaked out. Are you sure this place is fit for human habitation? We only looked around the house once on a rushed, blustery weekend at the end of March, speeding around Scotland and a whirl, viewing 5 or 6 different properties a day, each less inspiring than the last. At the last minute, we squeezed in an extra stop in a tiny fishing village named St. Monans, where Mum instantly fell in love with the quaint, crooked streets and peaceful old harbor lined with pastel-colored cottages. Our house looked right over the water, a neat cream square front snuggled cozily along the blues and yellows and pinks. 4 sturdy wooden windows gave it a welcoming, symmetrical expression, and a bright red roof peeped down from above, a few of the tiles in disarray as if they'd been knocked loose by clumsy seagulls. I could tell Mom was smitten before she had even stepped inside. But Linda, the real estate agent, clearly still thought she had to convince us. It's historical, she said brightly through a pasted-on lipstick smile as she struggled to force open the uneven floorboards, practically twisted her ankle while she tripped over them. Imperfections add such a sense of personality to a house, don't they? Linda gushed, rushing into the next room without waiting for an answer while I rubbed my ankle angrily. I'd happily have traded a bit less personality for a bit more health and safety, thank you very much. I shiver and look up in the winding staircase, remembering how I traipsed upstairs after Mum that day, bored and fed up. We whizzed through the 3 bedrooms, one looking out over a jungly backyard and the other 2 tucked under the front eaves of the house, with views across the street and down toward the harbor, where a few brightly painted fishing boats bobbed on the tide. The bathroom offered a dripping tap and a green stain around the sink drain. The ceiling beams were riddled with the tiny insect holes, and even the large stones around the doorways were scattered with deep, uneven scratches. Witches' marks. Don't they add a lovely touch of character? The house was chilly, and several of the walls were flocked with mildew. Still, there I noticed, casting a critical eye under the paintwork in the hallway. We didn't have time to look in the attic, which Linda airily assured us that both spacious and cozy. Call me cynical, but this made me suspect it might be neither. The last owners never touched it, and it was used for storage before they arrived, so it might need just a teensy bit of tidying, but rest assured there's plenty of room up there. We'd been in a huge rush to move in 2 weeks, though, and as Mom had pointed out at the gas station on the drive home, beggars can't be choosers. Got to get you settled in time for a start of a new school year, she said with a smile that was just a little too wide. It'll only be half an hour drive into town for school, and I can drop you off on my way to work. 2 weeks later, here we are. The front door bangs in the wind, and I hurry to help unload the car. As we heave the last few boxes in the hall, the sky begins to rumble, and the first drops of rain splatter on the pavement. Mum slams the door shut and puts an arm around my shoulders. She smells of perfume and vanilla essence. I breathe in her smell as deeply as I can, clinging to its familiarity. Soon it will feel like home, honey, she says with a reassuring squeeze. I make a noise and wriggle away to escape up the creaking staircase, muttering something about unpacking my room. Upstairs, I shove the box of diaries and photographs as far as possible under my new bed without looking at it. I sling my backpack on the bedspread, letting the contents slither out. Hairbrush, tampons, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant. I try to breathe. My laptop slides out on top of them, the green power light blinking at me. My stomach does a weird sort of wriggle, and I turn my back on it and tug the heavy window open with a complaining squeal and a cloud of dust. Outside, the wind rustles the too long grass, and ivy sweeps like a tidal wave over the crumbling garden wall. In the far corner of the garden, a squat shed crouches like a toad in the gathering dust. Rain is drumming steadily down now, and the evening air smells wet and earthy. The hair on my arms lifts as a cold gust blows in. I pull a baggy black sweater out of the nearest bag and shrug it over my head, and then pull my hair out of its ponytail so it falls around my shoulders, warming my neck. Mum has already hung my new school uniform over the door of the closet. I frown at the bottle green blazer and kilt and picture myself arriving at St. Margaret's Academy, a flat gray building I've only seen in pictures of online, standing awkwardly on my own while gaggles of students push past me, chattering excitedly. Anna! Dinner! I sigh and head downstairs, leaving the window open. In the kitchen, Mum has already unearthed a few lamps and a tablecloth, giving the room an air of familiarity. A pan of hot water and spaghetti is bubbling away on the stove. Spaghetti wasn't on my list of last-minute things, but Mum shoved it in the glove compartment, realizing we wouldn't have anything else to eat on the first night. The modern cutlery with brightly colored handles and the tall glasses looked out of place in this creaky museum of a house, which Linda proudly assured us originally dates back about 4 centuries. It's like the cottage has dressed up in our old house clothes, but the pants are too short, revealing a weird patch of bare ankle. It doesn't look like much yet, Mum shrugs apologetically, and I feel my heart constrict. Mum has uprooted her entire life, job, friends, everything, and here she is apologizing to me. I don't know what to say, so I shrug too in a way that I hope looks like I don't mind, Mum. I love you. But I'm afraid actually looks like whatever. We'll get there, she smiles. It's a fresh start, and that's what matters. To find out what further happens in The Burning, check it out at your local library, or in the comments below you can find the link to purchase the book for your own.